to chat about the meeting and everything. You guys don't have to use like 3 different channels. If you guys have any questions during our first part of the meeting, make sure you guys start putting them in the community meeting question channel, because we are going to close the channel once we start the Q&A. So give me just 1 second and we'll get started. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, thank you guys for joining us. We're gonna try to keep this at about 2 hours, if not shorter than that. So about the first hour or so will be our staff team going over a bunch of things, and then the second hour we'll plan for the Q&A. So the question everybody wants to know, and we'll just get right to it, because I mean, I'm not gonna lie, that's what I would come to this meeting to hear too. Are we gonna wipe? Are we not gonna wipe? Am I gonna keep this? Am I gonna keep that? So we are going to do a wipe, and it is going to be some things are going to stay, some things are not going to stay. I think Lou is going to be the one that covers the details of the wipe. The reason that we've waited up until now to really discuss it is because we've been pretty much working on the details for it every day to see what is fair, both for an economy and community perspective, and also fair as being a player. Because I understand completely, you guys get on the server and you earn all these cool things. We've had Patreon supporters, which without them we wouldn't be here. They've helped keep the lights on. So there are some things that are going to stay, some things are not going to stay. Lou is going to cover that. I am going to update you guys on the launch for tomorrow. So tomorrow is going to be considered what I'm going to call a public soft launch. Okay, so it's not going to be the final transition to the new server. So Fanny and I were talking about it earlier, and we really want to spend about another week to just really throw some development time at it, some bug fixing time at it, some of the really big updates, because we don't want to give you guys a new server that's got holes in it. Like I've said over and over, the server is by no means going to be finished when we release it, but we want to make sure it's at least playable and to a point that everybody enjoys it. So for the next week, both servers are going to be on. The nCore server might be up and down depending on restarts from when we're doing stuff, but you guys, starting tomorrow, probably tomorrow night, I'll make an announcement for it, but tomorrow night you guys will be able to get in the server, kind of get familiar with it. I wouldn't probably invest too much time into making your character or trying to grind out money or assets or whatever it may be, because we're going to do another nCore database wipe before we fully transfer everybody over to it. So just really kind of, you can get in, play with it, try to break things. You can post in bug reports, anything you guys find, stuff like that. So, and like I said, the current.
I also want to just express that when we do this test, we want you to role play. We want you to use it like you're gonna use it in your daily play, because that's the whole point. So like no
Right.
tomfoolery, no bullshitting, no shitlordery. Like actually role play. And really, you don't need to grind. So you might as well just role play. Get in character. Go do what you would normally do. I'm sure between you and your 15 friends, you can put together and get a car. One car. You don't need to grind anything.
Yeah, absolutely. So this next week or two is really going to be probably a little awkward between the two servers, but it also, from me and Fanny's perspective, it's also a very stressful and awkward time for us, because we're trying to make sure we get a smooth transition, everything's working, and we don't want to shut off one server to put on another server that's broken. So we want to make sure that we get you guys, a good server, because you guys deserve it. You guys have stuck around with us. You guys are awesome to us. So we want to return the favor the best we can.
Yeah, I mean,
So
in this last week during testing, like it was apparent that things work. It's just like we have a lot of double binds. So like you'll press something and two things will happen at once because it was just an oversight. Like, oh, I didn't realize that was binded there too. I've spent 9.5 months working with another team to make this. So we're in the wild west of servers right now. It's completely new, completely different. It's not anything like what's out there already. So but especially, I mean, it might seem like some stuff is out there already, but it's because I have unadulterated access to this stuff. So ours is customized and it'll be continue to be customized and expanded upon. But first I want to get it playable. Like there's a lot of things that you just press two buttons and two things happen at once. We're going to fix those little things. So that way when we finally do, okay, it's time to play 100%, we're not wiping anymore. At least then it's not like 6 hours of messing with bugs all day. Let us take one more week to work it out with people playing because we see things as people play. It happens while you play. So I don't want you guys to spend a week of grinding and us have to delete it at the end by force. So we're just letting you know we're going to go ahead and delete it at the end just to be fair. So nobody spends a lot of time just making money that they lost. Again, right after a wipe, okay?
yep.
I'll let
So
Danzar go back. I'm sorry, I just took over there. Go ahead, Danzar.
no, it's fine. So this next week or so, there can really be a good focus on developing your role play on the live server, trying out new role play on the new server. Money and assets shouldn't be the main focus right now on either server. So I'm going to, I think, turn it over to Lou, and he's going to go into more details about the wipe and the economy and player businesses.
All right. So, like Dancer said, there's going to be a wipe. Some things are going to stay. First, I'm going to explain why we have decided to go with a wipe. First of all, it's as most of you should know, the economy of the current server is a mess. It's completely messed up. It's trash. Like I've heard some people saying in RP, we have the inflation of Zimbabwe, pretty much. You go to any car meet, and everyone's driving supercars. Everyone's living in Rockford. It really doesn't make sense for this amount of people to. Hold on a minute. All right, sorry about that. The economy right now doesn't really make sense, and we're taking this as an opportunity to start fresh. We have said many times we're moving on to a more realistic economy, and truly the only way to pull this off is starting over. We can't bring remnants of a broken economy to a new one because we'll just have a second broken economy. Like, that's the truth. The second part is, as much as we have the administration team, so like the admins, Dancer, and Fan, we have gone over options and options and options of what to keep, what to move. Should players keep this? Should players keep that? Should players, move with just one house, maybe just one car? Let me tell you all right now. A few days ago, we broke the. I think there's like around 13,000 characters. We broke that mark in the server. There's, I think, 500 owned houses. 13,000 characters, like 500 houses, thousands of owned vehicles. There's millions of entries in the inventory table in the database. Moving that to the new server for our senior mods would be months of work, nonstop. So not only it makes sense for us to wipe because we want to start fresh with a new improved economy, even if we didn't want to wipe, we can't put our staff through that much work. It's inhumane. It would take months of working every single day, hours a day, to not even finish it. That's pretty much why we're going through the wipe. Like I said, it took months of discussion, but that's our decision. Now, as to which items, which things are going to stay, we have decided, first of all, Patreon properties. So those Patreons who had a $100 pledged and still own their properties. So if you sold or gave your house away or that character permit, then I'm sorry, but there's no way. But those Patreons who still own their properties are going to receive them in nCore. Then another one tied to Patreons. There's the money from the perks. So what's an easy way to put it? Let's say Dansar was $100 Patreon once, right? So for those of you that know, that means on his month of Patreon he got 100K. Now on nCore he'll be receiving 10% of that money. He'll be receiving 10K because that's kind of the aim of the new economy. Everything's gonna be cheaper. Everything's gonna be more realistic. No more burgers for $1,000. No more a Backstar invoice for $800. Like, have you seen any like Backstars, like real life worker equivalent of whatever Backstars is, like getting $800 an hour? No. So it's gonna be 10% of the Patreon perks to match the new realistic, lower, cheaper economy. And that's for all the months. So if I have 5 months of $100 Patreon perk, I'm getting 50K in nCore. Then all, yeah.
It's not cheaper. I think that's a misnomer. It's not
That's
cheaper.
lower.
It's payments are lower, but your houses are
Right.
going to be more expensive. Your cars are going to be respectively more expensive. It's going to be more realistic based. Not that everything's going to be cheap. You're just making less money. Is the way to look at it.
True. No, yeah, I was getting to that. Another thing that's going to be transferred is SIM cards and license plates that weren't used. To make this easier, I recommend if you have SIM cards and license plates, like put them all in the same place. So when we effectively do the full transfer after the soft launch, like the actual full launch,
when we release the SIM card and SIM card like objects, we have a few more that are going to be coming out all at the same time. When we do that, that's when we'll just comp you. You'll have access to them right away.
Right. But to make it easier to verify, to check, like please put them all in the same place. Like if your character has one SIM card in one trunk of one vehicle, 2 SIM cards in another one, and then 1 SIM card in your house, it's gonna be a mess. So like just put them all in the same place to make it easier for yourself and for us, please. That's all for patrons. Then for businesses, we want the businesses being functional as soon as we launch. So all official businesses, the ones that in RP you have a permanent license, not in RP, you guys have, you'll know you have Discord roles, you have your custom items, you have all of that. You'll be receiving your properties. Same with the temporary businesses, you'll be receiving your property tied to the business as well. But the official ones will also receive a small head start, so they can be running as soon as we launch the server. We haven't decided yet what kind of head start. We'll probably decide along this week if it's going to be money, if it's going to be items related to the business. We're not sure yet, but there's going to be a head start for those businesses. So that's what's transferring. Now, about the economy, like I was saying, it's going to, like EOS was saying too, it's going to be more realistic. Everyone's going to be making less money. Some vehicles, some cars are going to be more expensive. Some others are going to be way cheaper. It's pretty much going to be realistic. We have actually gone, when I say we, I mean the whole staff team pretty much. We have gone through the prices of everything. Vehicles, foods from the businesses, payouts from I don't know, local jobs, NPC jobs, criminal payouts. We have checked everything to be as realistic as possible. And because of that, when I mean food from businesses, that includes the official ones. So official businesses are going to have to, we're going to come up with guidelines that we're going to release soon as well for official businesses to follow those prices. So if we say, a burger needs to be sold, I don't know, $3, $5, whatever, it has to be sold around that range. We can't have, food being sold at the outrageous prices we have right now. So we can keep the economy in level, because I know some people were worried about the economy getting out of hand, how it is right now. So we're implementing as many tools and checks to prevent that from happening. I think as per the economy, that's pretty much it. About the businesses, like I said, if you have a business and you're wondering, or your Patreon houses, you're wondering when you're going to get those, bear with us for this week. Please be patient. we need to get the framework working first as much as possible. So sometime this week, you'll figure out how the new business mechanics work. And after that, we'll get in touch with you for you to receive like your business property, your houses, all of that will come with time. But until then, please be patient and bear with us. One more thing I'm going to talk about. It's not really related to the economy. It's more related to RP before we move on to the other topics. It's about the RP. The server is going to be whitelisted. That's no news for anyone. I think it's announced in the Project Core channel. With a whitelisted server, we're going to have our new players are going to be players that have gone through an application process. So the standard of RP is going to be... Hold on, give me 1 second. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention is just how for the business properties and all of that, you guys will have to wait until the actual launch. The same applies for the patron houses, the 10% of the Patreon money perks, the same cards, all of that will happen after the actual launch. Because during this week of development, like Dancer said, the nCore database might get wiped. So we don't want to. No, there's no need to do that twice. So we'd rather just wait until everything is set up. Now going back to the whitelist. The standard for RP is going to be way higher due to our new players coming in after a whitelist application, right? So this is why the rest of the team has come up with a few topics they want to cover, mainly about RP. So I think the first two are going to be Steel and Redley.
Okie doke. Thank you, Lou.
Welcome.
So, guys, RP, with it being a whitelist, as Lou said, there's going to be some serious expectations for all the players as far as RP is concerned. The last week or so, or not the last week, I'll say probably since we announced the date or the range of dates where we expected nCore to be released, a lot of people have tapered off because of their assumptions about what was going to happen with wipes or whatever, and RPs died down. And while we understand why a lot of people have kind of, a little bit of their moxie's been lost because they weren't sure where the current server was sitting, it shouldn't have been quite as drastic as it was. We kind of went over to into Club RP and Hangout RP, but there's so much more that everybody can be doing within our current server. And even in nCore, the expectation is you need to create your storyline. I'm not going to give away too much, but there's going to be so many new things you guys can do. There'll be gang areas where you can actually use your gang area to back up your RP. Like if you're a Vagos, you have the standard Vagos or territory, and that can change. There might be areas where police might have a stronger control. There's things that can happen when you're RPing it out. The thing with an RP is that when you make a character, which kind of segues into my big point for the RP section, is you need to think about that character's limitations and where that character's going. So I came in as Duncan. I made Duncan a retiree. He liked guns. He left the army. He liked guns. And I wanted to start a business. So I started a gun business. And being that DW has become a cornerstone, he's been able to weasel his way through different areas and become successful. I don't want to be a billionaire. I don't want Duncan to be a billionaire. I don't want to be the richest guy. I just want to be a connected guy. And I settled on that. You have to figure out your position. If you're making a Vago, you're making a Bala, they ain't going to have 5 helicopters. They're not going to have planes. They're not going to have Lambos out the ass. They live near Grove Street. They live in that area. They're going to have, the donks. They're going to have that sort of stuff. And you need to think about those limitations as you develop your character's backstory. And sometimes you're going to have to just control yourself because maybe you might get enough money somehow through a drug dealer or something to buy a Lambo.
I can.
But is it?
I'm sorry. Still, just to speak on the seriousness, like Still's is going is speaking about like the police force has spent a few days now, and they're going to spend probably a few more days severely training. And if you think that you're going to be a shitlord criminal and one of these cops is going to take it, no, you're just going to end up in jail for a couple hours. So just think about that. Take it serious. Like don't get bored and start climbing on the cop car because he's probably going to arrest you and throw you in jail.
Now, I'm not saying the staff is going to micromanage your story, but there's, if you're going way out of your line, there might be questions raised from it. So everybody needs to be cognizant of what you're doing from an RP's perspective. Robert Red we can't have 100 Robert Reds running throughout the server, obviously.
And if you need a new storyline or something new to do, you have 8 character slots. Use them.
Yeah, and that's what also goes in is that, but I think someone else is covering the multiple character, but I can cover a little bit.
Yeah.
Is use a bunch of different characters, use the slots, make people. They don't all have to have 20 different jobs.
If you want to do low tier crime, just robbing cars and shit like that, then just play a low tier criminal. Like make a low tier criminal and then do that. And if you want to play big tier criminal stuff like bank heists and stuff, then make a new guy for that.
And everyone's backstory is carrying over. So now's the time to reset if you've gone beyond your backstory
nobody's gonna really mess with you if you retcon right now. Like if you're like, okay, that didn't actually happen, I would rather do this, so long as you take your role going forward seriously.
But you can also pull your over. So I'm going to be pulling over Duncan's backstory and Walker's backstory. Other people can do the same, but use this as an opportunity.
Yep, yeah, exactly.
Do low level shit. Low level shit's our favorite thing. Like low level crime, like not just banging over a bunch of liquor stores, but going out there and
selling counterfeit poker chips to the gangs. They didn't know those were counterfeit, but that's some low level ass shit. But he made a whole character for that.
It's beautiful. So that's all I have, guys. Just match your backstory. Low level gangbanger shouldn't be driving Lambos. Everybody shouldn't be a high end multi-billionaire. Keep it in level. Sometimes you can just be yourself in the server. If you want to make your own character, not using your name, come up with something that's similar to you. I use a lot of aspects of my own backstory in some of my characters. So play it out, but be realistic, because the staff's going to be watching. The community should hold each other accountable. If you're concerned with somebody, play it out on character. Be like, hey man, this isn't the smartest use of your money. You literally only made $200 from a drug deal you did last week. There's no point. So. And I think Rhett Lee was going to talk about /me's.
All right.
Hey guys, so I'm going to be going on to. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
so I'm going to
fine.
be going on to the importance of in character and out of character, right? So
No, that's
when,
that's lit.
One.
No,
You're talking about the use of /me's, right?
Oh, /me's. My bad. Sorry. I'm very tired. So we're gonna go into the conversation about /me's. So the thing about /me's, it is abused in a lot of ways. It is used as in a way a third party communication where you're typing in like /me. You're having a conversation with someone with /me's. /me's are only used to show more of your character, meaning your expressions, how your character's feeling by visual, right? It's not like it's not like, oh, my character's thinking this. No one can read your mind. No one's going to do that. It's literally pointless, right? But if it's like, my /me is sweating profusely. Okay, now we can tell in RP that your character is nervous for a reason. Why? We don't know. We'll figure that out, right? Or is just worked out a lot, whatever. Going on to that
in
is
terms of action words that you would use in a text RP environment.
Yeah, and then going on with that, guys, too, is that I'm just gonna be blunt about it. Not every single person in the server, your characters, they don't know sign language. So if you need to using sign language for their character, doesn't mean that, oh, you know what? I automatically know sign language. There has to be a good RP reason behind it. There has to be a story behind it. There has to be a
For
legitimate.
instance, why don't you role play with the person who is speaking sign language to learn sign language?
Exactly. And
Boom.
like if you don't know sign language, and then if you don't know sign language, there's multiple ways to RP it, such as A, use a notepad and communicate with them through writing. B, not understand what they're saying, think they're throwing great gang signs up and get scared, right? There's so many things you can RP through it, but the biggest issue with it is that you have to understand your character and what he or her can and cannot do. No character is a superhero. No character can do everything, right? That's where really crappy RP comes into play when people have that mindset. So with the slash me's, just keep it really strict. Like it's not how your character's feeling. Like with the thinking and stuff, it's your visual emotions and your visual what it's like actions, right?
And
Um,
just one
yeah,
side thing, right, is that
yeah,
for interacting with police officers with that, guys, sometimes we're not going to have the evidence needed because the mechanics won't allow. Work with the cops, and the cops will work with you. Like if they're in a situation, dust for fingerprints. Like if they're actually giving you good RP, don't just try to avoid like the jail time. Don't be
yeah,
like no fingerprints found. Don't play that. Like unless you
yeah,
actually put on gloves and shit. Like play along, because the prosecutors here. Like if I dusted for fingerprints and they said found fingerprints, I would screenshot that, send it to the prosecutors as proof, quote unquote, showing them the fingerprints, and it would
mhm.
work. So
And another
so
thing
play
with
that
that
way.
as well is like if you're driving erratic, right, and you're RPing that you're drunk or whatever, and the cop goes on to that RP, obviously we don't have breathalyzer at this time, or we might not ever. But actually RP that your character is intoxicated and go on with the RP, and you go into the drunk tank or you go to jail for that, you go to jail for that. But the worst thing for in a law enforcement perspective of RP is that the character that you're interacting with has done something or should be acting a certain way based upon of what's going on, and they don't. It's considered power gaming as well as is really bad RP, and it makes the RP between the individuals is not fun. Because at the end of the day, you shouldn't be here to win. You shouldn't be here to be the richest person. If you want money and stuff, this I'm gonna be frank, this is not the server for you. It's about role play, and the only way to get the top tier what we want and what we're getting is for every single individual to up their ante on role play. And that comes with the simple thing of slash me's.
And then
Um,
now it's on. I think we'll probably cover that one.
mhm.
Miv is going to talk about criminal activity and dumping.
Hi, yeah, hello. So with criminal activity, you should vary your crime. It depends. So if you're lower end crime, you'd not go around and try to sell high end guns. Or if you're trying to be someone who's a high end criminal, you wouldn't go around robbing houses. It just doesn't make sense. So you would vary your crime to an extent where you also have fun and the people around you have fun. And you'd want to do it for the interaction, not for the money, because let's be honest, not all crime goes very well. There is an example. There's been the Vagos and the Lost, and most of the time they wouldn't even do all the mechanics for crime. They would just do character development, which is a big part of your criminal activity. You shouldn't rely on all our game mechanics to basically make your criminal. You should rely on how you're gonna RP out. Let me just look through my notes on it. Sorry. The same
Body
goes for
dumping.
what,
The body dumping.
sir?
Yeah. Sorry.
So instead of doing the same things like robberies or Mangelico, where you have a hostage, you want free passage, no spikes, blah blah blah. Get some variation. Be a little creative. An example for that, me and Lou was very sleep deprived one day. We made two characters. We dressed them up. We said we had a hostage. We both ran out and got on our bicycles. That was hilarious both for us and for the cops. So just make these interactions fun for everyone. And you should also not focus on just killing someone and sort of winning the situation. So, for example, if you're robbing someone, you wouldn't just go ahead and shoot them so they don't remember. Same with being robbed, you want to fear for your life. So, You'd rather fear for your life and not trying to win the situation. You'd want to stay alive, of course. That's where we go into the dumping. So when you do kill a player, dumping them in the water is one of the most low effort ways of getting rid of a body. It's not just dumping the water, you can dump them in the mountains, stuff like that. It doesn't just take away their IP, they just have to sit around for maybe 15 minutes and just wait. But you also take it away from DMS to do some medical RP. And it's just unnecessary, especially if it's
only dump the body if if you just killed somebody that's been in your story for a long time and they're gonna perm and you know it. It just wastes everyone's time to drag them all the way out there just to make sure they lose their stuff and don't remember you. If they remember you, then you probably didn't do it right.
Not only that, it leaves a better message as a criminal, and if you just leave them in the street for everyone to see.
But here's the thing, if you dump someone just so they lose their items and so they forget you, yeah, that's power gaming. You can't be doing that in character. You would never know that. So if we found out that's what you're doing, we're gonna see it as power gaming. I have already seen it before that people said, "Oh well, I didn't want them to remember me." It's not okay. You don't do that. It's power gaming, and there will be consequences of it. So you can pick up a down player, like they said. You can also dump them maybe in a pool or somewhere funny. You just get them away from the crime scene, but don't carry them around for 15 minutes waiting for them to, pick up. Because at the end of the day, we're here to roleplay with each other. We're not here to win. We're not here to lose. We're just here to have fun, So just keep that in mind. I think Ridley and Tesla has some more.
I guess I'll take care of mine here before Ridley does his thing on the other stuff. So my topic is mostly covering on patience. So obviously the OOC aspects of patience. For instance, Dynasty 8, they are, and DOJ especially, they do a lot of things on the OOC background, doing quote like in character emails through DMs, a lot of scheduling, and they have their own lives and their own characters that they're building as well. So they're not going to be available 24/7. So you just gotta kind of have to be patient and work with them. You're not going to be like, oh, I want this thing right now because I just had this brilliant idea. If your brilliant idea was just to do this one thing for 2 seconds and then 2 weeks down the line it's not going to be, you're not going to focus anymore, then there was no point in you rushing to do this whole thing. So it's really about taking the time and thinking about what you're doing and all that sort of stuff. Along with this is going to be a new city, new framework, it's new everything in general. Bugs are bound to happen, and we just need people as a community to be patient and work with the staff team and Fan and Danzar specifically as they work out those bugs and everything like that. Moving into more of the in-character patience, we need to let stories unfold, especially when stories start to be combined together. If there's a week-long investigation from police going on, and then suddenly you just don't want to, you didn't let that unfold because it was just something happened, you just didn't want to do it anymore type thing. It's rushing to not let a story come together and finish after it's over type thing. We got to let things play out and actually go through. um just an example of that, cops not taking the time to either question someone or get more information from, a shots fired call or a stolen vehicle report or things of that sort, where they'll just instantly, oh, there's just like two people here. I'll, ask them, hey, did you see anything? No. Okay, bye. And they're going to instantly to the next call. Things like that. It's going to be more so they have to, set up an area, look into it, figure out what's going on. There's going to be a lot of different investigative RP, mechanics and expectations to, have down the line. So we're going to be having a lot of that going on for that. Pretty much make plans for long-term RP as well, and not just short-term RP. Like you can have short-term RP situations, but your characters, as you create them, remake them or even make new characters, you need to be planning out for the long term. Is this character going to be, Is he going to try and make a business? Is he going to try and get out in the world, sell cars? Is he going to, just be a low life, homeless man who's, doesn't have anything, he has no assets, he's having trouble living and things like that. You got to kind of plan out what your character is going to be before you make your character. If you go into it without a plan, it's going to stop pretty quickly, and then you're going to run out of things to do. And then obviously kind of with the criminal roleplay stuff, but also need to just kind of slow down the whole aspect of, going out gung-ho, shooting up everything and everyone over the littlest things. That's part of, rushing to end a story because, you don't want to talk to this guy or, he said a little bit of things. Now I'm going to put him in the dirt and make sure he doesn't remember anything and lose his stuff. Things like that just needs to calm down. Have more fist fights or, actually, fight over something, have an argument, leave, and then maybe it turns into a full gang war type thing. And then build RP as it comes, not just end it where it is. Looking into it as well, so medical RP, it also needs to be, it's a patience factor. You get into a car crash, you're then at the hospital, you have either a broken leg or, you have a broken foot or something happens, you can figure all that out as you're going. But then you have, you then get put into like a limp, you got a limp, you got a cast on, you have recovery time, and then you go back to being normal. That recovery time section could be over a 2 to 3 day period. It's not just, oh, I got checked out of the hospital, I'm perfectly fine now. The medical staff, they aren't just robots to fix you in 2 seconds to just go back to your standard role play. You do want to build your story and actually have things affect your character. That's all I had for mine. I believe it's Rhett with
Yep.
the thing.
Mm-hmm. Give me a second. All right, guys. So, thing I'm going to be talking about, lastly for myself, is the importance of in character and out of character communication and talking. All right. So, with that, just 1 second. So remember, guys, everything that happens in the game world, treat it as in character. None of it should ever go out of character at all. And say you're doing a role play, right, and you feel uncomfortable about it, don't take it OC. Just remove yourself in the game, in character, and then ask for staff immediately for assistance, via player report. So the big thing that needs to be ended, right, because this has happened and stuff, and we have seen it, is that people take IC issues with each other out of character, and it just creates drama that is not needed in the community, right? Also, breaking character in roleplay is a rule break, such as, talking about something end game that's like something that's not part of the world, right? Such
Hey,
as
bro, I'm gonna get you deported for that, bro. Oh man, I'm gonna get you deported for that because
See you on the forums.
yeah.
exactly. Thank you for the example. I'm fucking dead, tired. I lost my
Well,
spot. Yeah. What were you saying still?
I was gonna say, guys, the big thing about this is, and where it comes up is when somebody does their in character, and like I personally know them, like we'll use Howard Moss and Richard Bullitt as an example. They are huge assholes, but that's all in character. Like I know them both. It's all in character, and you guys, like, a lot of people take it personally. They're going to insult you. They're going to be the asshole cop. Howard Moss, ex-Vietnam guy, he's developed the character really well. Like Bullitt is just this angry cop who's just at the end of his rope. So you have to keep those feelings separate, because I know a couple of people who've gone and taken Moss's insults and gone out of character with it, but it's not. Like, don't. It's all in character, and everybody here should kind of get that professional mindset where what's being said in character, like, there are assholes that exist in real life. There are simps. There are, there are whores. There's all this that exists in real life. Keep it in character, and, the only emotion you should have is that you like what you're doing. You're enjoying the interaction. Don't take it any more personally than that, because we're not calling you behind the screen a whore or anything like that. Like, We're literally just saying it's in character. So keep it separate. Right. I don't know if you have any more.
Oh, no, that's pretty much it on that. Do you guys have any questions? No, never mind. Yeah, so that's that, guys. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
I think next is me.
It's you with the DOJ.
Ah,
yeah.
shit. Okay, so DOJ guys, they're I would call it one of the most important aspects of how you're going to get along in the city. We've been developing it over time. We've hired some really good attorneys, some that are actual attorneys that we're actually having to catch up with a little bit because they're introducing new aspects and we're kind of meeting each other in the middle. What you can expect to see in the future is a little bit more streamlined. The server's going to offer licensing at a quicker pace, which means I don't have to go back and have it added to the database. It should be able to be streamlined through where as a judge I can issue the license right there and it will appear on CAD the same day. That doesn't mean that I'm going to give or that Danzar or Lou are going to give class 2s and 3s to everybody we see. We've obviously opened up class 2. I think we have about 40 that have been issued. Which also means, guys, if you're a class 2 or 3 holder, this came up in discussion the other day, it ain't there to show off it ain't there to sit in Legion and just pull out your gun. It's brandishing. If you're in public property, it's brandishing. You want to show it off, go to DW. Shoot at the gun range. Go to your house. Not in the public area. But the DOJ is going to be utilized more. We have a lot of big plans for it. Right now, our biggest bottleneck was time. I mean, Danzar and Lou have been spending a lot of time in developing nCore and coming up with policies, procedures, and coding for that. And we've been taking on cases. Our clerks have been freaking amazing. But
I swear
you need
there's
to,
a DOJ handbook somewhere. I'm not lying.
Yeah, there is one. But it's also one of those things where it's like things change all the time because we have to kind of work with the RP that you guys give to us. So if the cops don't do a good enough job, we'll throw it out. You do a shit job at being a criminal, we'll throw you behind bars. But the DOJ is going to expand. It's going to be a bigger part in day-to-day activities. You'll see things like new license types.
And I want to go ahead and say the thing that's the most easily noticeable in RP is effort. As long as we can tell you're putting effort, it will work. You don't
That's
have
why
to be the world's best role player. We're not saying that. We're just saying just show effort. And if you fill out for a license, make sure you have a good reason for it, etc.
I expunged somebody's record the other day without a hearing because they took the effort to go to an attorney. They took the effort to give me their side. They put in a lot of effort to make their presentation to me, and I thought that the cop was not. They didn't fulfill their side of things, and I expunged the record because the charge wasn't malleable enough to put to it. But it can also go in front of prosecution. The prosecution can throw it out. So it's really effort on everybody's part. Now, as far as the civil side of things, that's the most underutilized part of the DOJ. Contract disputes, you need to set up contracts for your business, like set up, email contracts or Word document contracts, and sue each other, or come to us if you have a legal question. There's a lot of potential, estates, marriages, divorces. Use that. There's a lot of fun you can do, and I promise you, all 3 judges and all of the attorneys in prosecution, they're going to give you some damn good RP, and you're going to have a lot of fun. I think I had one court case that wasn't stellar. Like I didn't enjoy it. Like I ended up just going, well, that was pointless. The rest of them have been awesome. So, other than that, guys, we're pushing it on to Miss Miv on multiple characters.
Yeah, so well, we kind of went over this already, but it's just to remind everyone. Having one character who does all the jobs just to have staff to change them, because I've seen that quite a lot. It's a hassle for us and it's a hassle for you guys. That's why we have so many character slots. Because I use all my 8 slots. I have 8 characters. They all do different things. So if you want to have more than the 1 to 2 jobs your character can have, make more characters, make more storylines too.
I wanted to say one of the systems is the player-owned businesses know if you work for it or not automatically, so it doesn't your job, quote unquote, isn't the same way it used to work on the old server style. You have a job, which is like if you're cop or whatever, but you can also work for a business, like one of the private-owned businesses, and it won't affect your quote unquote job. So if you're like a mechanic, then say you wanted to get a second job over at Ghost, you could do both.
Yeah, but keep it realistic. And
Yeah,
the whole thing
realistic.
about creating multiple characters is you can
Mhm.
pick and choose whoever you want to play with, whatever storyline you want to proceed with. So, example, if you want to,
So the gang system, for instance, there's a gang system at nCore. If you want to make a gangster, your RP is going to have to be on point because the people picking it, I'm picking them for their pickiness on roleplay. So if they're leading a gang, then it's because they're very picky on their roleplay. And if you want to join said gang, like say you want to be a Vagos that's actually cut in Vagos, right? Then you're probably gonna have to impress Guadalupe. And I've RP'd with him; he don't fuck around.
yeah. But with that said, if you do choose to be a gang member, you wouldn't then choose the same character to go further with, for example, being a cop, or you wouldn't choose to be something. You'd make another character, is what we're trying to say, because it makes more sense for realism's sake. We don't have got a business owner, for example. If I own 3 businesses, but I go to work low end burger shop, you wouldn't see that. But I could make another character to do so. Exceptions would, of course, be some like casino workers, for example. They could have 2 jobs. A DOJ, because some of these things are gonna be a little slow, but keep it realistic and just have some fun with multiple characters. You can even make one-lifers if you want. So
And be care about metaing between your characters. Your characters can know general thing up and like no specific. Like if like Walker might know that Duncan opened up a new gun store because it was advertised, but I don't know what Duncan said to Tony on some meeting, you know? So keep it separate if you can. Well, no, you have to. There's not if you can.
yeah. So I'm gonna throw it back to Stell. Yes.
Oh, this player reports. So player reports. The one big thing that we as a staff have kind of noticed is that people somehow think that putting in a player report is like narking. When you come into the community and you join the Discord and you join the server, you are agreeing to following the rules. And one of the things is holding each other accountable to them. You're not narking. This isn't going to the cops. If somebody is breaking one of our rules, and all of our rules are roleplay oriented, like, it's probably ruining the experience for someone else. So why would you not want to put it in? Because that person isn't always going to be punished. It might just be a redirect. We have plenty of people who we help them or we redirect them. Player reports are vital. You know, there's some people who understand it and they put in a lot because they see an issue happening and they don't hesitate to go, hey guys, this is a problem. Can you deal with it? And we do. We take player reports super seriously. The second one comes in, we're on top of it. Like Ahmad is always responding in it first, and then if it needs to be escalated, it goes beyond that. If there's a player report on a staff member, those are taken ultra seriously, and it's automatically brought up to the highest level possible, the administration, and they deal with it. And there's not like brushing under the rug. Things get handled. So if you're in the server and you see a rule broken, and you do a / report, and maybe it doesn't happen, but it's something you can give us a photo of, a video of, put it in player reports, and it'll get fixed, and it will solve a lot of the issues that people bring up. Because I'll be sitting there and talking to people, and they'll start, well, I saw this person do this, and I go, well, why didn't you submit an email for that? You know, it's hard to explain it in character, but why didn't you submit an email for that? Do it. Just go out and do it, guys. Like, we don't tell. Unless you're directly involved, the other person does not know who put it in. If you're just a witness, like, we don't tell. So I would encourage everybody to use these tools effectively, as they're one of the strongest that we have in the server for maintaining each other's decorum and having a check and balance for what goes on day to day.
All right, and to add on to that though, because I've heard this many times and I'm sick and tired of it. Going on to that we don't want the defense of, oh, it was done to me, so I did it. And then we ask why you didn't do a player report, and someone's like, oh, because nothing ever happens or nothing ever gets done.
That's not true.
But I know that's not
staff
true.
always sees to making sure if something needs to be done, it's done. If not, then we at least coach the person on how to do it better next time. So
yeah, you
The-
can't use that as a defense for breaking the rules.
I've seen
People
them.
have
I've
done it.
seen those player reports be worked out over the course of a whole week with like hours of effort put in by the staff.
We can only put in as much work as you guys give us, right? Those player reports are paramount to anything you think is wrong on the
Because
server.
it lets everyone know that this is a place that's worth playing because my effort will be acknowledged and protected, right?
And guys, if a player report sits without movement for like a day, I promise you, like senior mods, admins are like, "Hey guys, why haven't you finished this?" It's taken care of. So things happen. If people say that they don't happen, it's because it didn't happen to what they expected to happen, like a permaban or something. But we're pretty fair to people, but we also make the right decisions in guiding people versus punishing them when it's necessary. So things happen. Put in player reports. Like no one else sees it. It doesn't hurt you. And if you don't have a video, we'll give the best description you can because we'll get all sides and we'll make our judgment call from there. We usually know when people are lying.
That's paramount because I am Hammy. I am the record keeper. I constantly look at the logs for everything. I know everything that goes on in the server that we have logs for. I know who's doing what. I know when, say, Tony spends $10,000 to get a lap dance. I know when T fucking, buys a new car. I know when someone kills somebody. So if there's was a rule break, it happened to you, right? And you don't necessarily have video of it. If you can give us a good description, a time frame, any kind of info, I will run it down for you. I swear, to try to figure out what happened, who was there, and what went wrong.
And it's actually scary because I've asked him for it 100 different times, and he's never gone. Nah, I don't want to deal with it. He will literally stay up past his bedtime, just figuring it out, and then send us the info. So, outside of the play reports, guys, I'm gonna hand it off to Louis. Has a couple more points he wants to talk about stuff, and then Miv's gonna go over some staff stuff. So,
All right. Something I forgot to mention about the wipe. Obviously, it has to make sense in RP, right? Let's say we'll agree most players are borderline millionaires, either in cash or assets. So it kind of has to make sense why everything or almost everything is going away. So the thing we came up with is we're gonna RP it out as if there's like a stock market crash. There's hyperinflation. Nothing is valuable anymore. That's what we're going with. It's gonna be kind of hard to. Initially, we planned for one day, but we need one extra day, 1 extra week of development. So we're kind of gonna have to drag it for a week. I understand it's complicated, RPing that your character is gonna have nothing eventually, but it's what we're aiming for. Because I got a couple of questions asked for me, like what am I supposed to do? I have my cars and I'm gonna pretend they're gone. Soon? Yes, they're gonna be gone soon because we're all gonna be poor because of the extreme hyperinflation in RP going on the server. That's our RP explanation behind the wipe, because clearly we need one, and the reason we need one is because the wipe is only economical, right? Our characters, we can remake them. Their storylines continue. It's more of a second season, a second chapter, rather than a reset when it comes to RP. Our memories are still there. Our jobs are still there. That's why the businesses will be kept too. I think that pretty much covers it. Like RP continues. It's just a reset on the economy.
You can call it a reissuing of currency. That's what countries who have failed currency do. They reissue currency, they back it with something, and everybody starts off, and the old currency gets used as filler for walls.
Yes, my rural country did it 3 times actually. So there you go. We can go with that. That's pretty much it. I think Mev.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say Mev.
Oh yeah. Mev is gonna announce a couple new staff members.
Can I say
Yes.
one thing real quickly? So when it comes to your in-game like slash reports and things like that, with the new city, staff members will have an ability to message you on your screen directly, saying, "Hey, we're looking into it," type thing. This allows us to have more communication to state that, hey, we're not just ignoring your message. We are actively looking into it. So that way you can continue your role play without needing to worry about it type thing.
And there will also be a /help.
Yeah. You can do /help /report. So report will be for reporting a player, and help will be requesting some sort of assistance like a teleport, or that way we can be sure we can have people playing roles for the night. Like, all right, I'll watch reports, you watch helps. So we've got a lot of extra tools. The admin tools were probably one of the things that took me the longest on getting set up, because of just how much there is there now.
All right, Mitt.
Alright, perfect. So yeah, I want to put a couple people on the spot just so we all can give them a big warm welcome. We have 2 new community helpers, Phoenix and Persistent Minx, I believe their Discords are, also known as Corey and Ashley. Just want to personally welcome you guys, and then everyone else should go ahead and welcome them. Woo!
Yay, welcome!
Welcome to the bear team.
Now, unfortunately, you get me to join you.
And then Lou.
Yeah, I also want to congratulate Mexi and Still. Mexi's now a mod. Still is now a senior mod, so y'all better be tagging all 4 of them, like spam tag them in discussion of topic everywhere. Like, just spam the shit out of them.
Don't get yourself muted by the bot.
True.
Yeah.
I think that's it for the staff topics. We have a bunch of questions, which are gonna close now, I believe.
Yeah,
there you go.
Bring it up.
So Still is gonna read the questions, and I think administration is we're gonna do our best to answer them.
I mean, if something's been answered, Danzar, fan, and the admins will say, "Hey, it's already been answered," so we'll just pass by it. Starting with the first one, will we be keeping our current character phone numbers somehow, or will we have to gather everyone's phone numbers once again?
You'll have to gather everyone's phone numbers again. It's an entire new phone system, so it would be practically impossible for me to convert everybody's phone numbers over.
On the side of detectives, will we be able to have blood samples, bullet casings, VIN numbers on guns, or drug test kits to test the drugs, etc., etc.?
That would be a later expansion. It's like I have a whole system that's ready for that, but I don't want to put it in yet until everything else is working smoothly. The guns already have serial numbers on them, so if a gun is found at a murder crime, or like say a gun's found at a murder or some other crime, it's got a serial number and it's registered to somebody who bought that gun. And it'll go one further. When that comes out, it'll go one further and attach that serial number to a bullet casing that drops on the ground.
Will the new server bring more traffic towards the northern side of the map instead of everything being in the big city and crowding everyone into one place?
When in the new server, there's 3 or 4 motels. 2 of them are up north, so that's actually a starting location for players now, and they can make it their home at the beginning. So that way they spawn in at Sandy every time. I personally plan on having 2 characters that live out there, and they don't even go in the city, so I hope so.
Part of that too is that's dependent on y'all and y'all's RP and taking stuff up there and doing.
This one's actually already been answered because we did it. We already had the grace period. Will there be a grace period which whitelisted roles such as PD and Sapphire will have an opportunity to reorganize and launch?
Yeah, that's what this next week is basically.
And we had it yesterday too.
We'll be pulling people in one at a time. We did a lot of the EMS and cop stuff already. Found out some issues there that need to be sorted out. Basically, everything we've tested so far, I found a small pile of issues that need to be resolved. And I'm only human, so I don't want to lie to you guys and be like, "Yep, we're ready." So we're gonna do a soft opening and fix it all. And then when it's a little bit closer to ready, we'll wipe it and be like, "Okay, now it's game, guys."
To add on to the county, will there be more things for the civilians to do in an area such as fishing and hunting?
Those are things you can RP already. Like, no one's stopping you from going to fish in the county or going hunting. Something that most people probably notice is that the nCore runs way smoother, which allows us to have more pedestrians, which in the end allows us to have more animals. So there's more animals for you to go and hunt.
Right now on nCore, it is turned up to 100%. So everything that exists on a typical GTA map should all be available. You should see all the different random effects that happen, all the timed events, everything.
Right. People driving like fully tuned cars, like an NPC driving a fully tuned lowrider, like all that stuff. Like you'll see it, and that applies for animals too. Like you can go and hunt.
Will the current hairstyle?
Sorry to add on to that. Yes, there will be more hard coded mechanics for up north, but like Eo said, a lot of that is determined by players.
Will the current hairstyles stay, and perhaps maybe more for both males and females?
Everything cosmetic related like that is usually like my specialty I work on. I do have plans, and I have some early stages of development on complete like redo of all male and female hairstyles, but that's like on the low priority list right now. But yes, it will eventually.
Soon I'm gonna yell at Danzar and tell him to go do that, so I don't have to be asked anymore. Pretty soon I'm gonna lock him to a chair and say go do it, so you guys can get it, and I don't have to be asked anymore. And I want to do that and beards. I want to get beards in. I want to get everything in. And now that we have proper FPS on the server, we shouldn't have any issue adding these new things in one at a time.
Awesome. Adding on to Ash, will there be new clothing options, vehicles, and furniture options for us to explore?
Yes, the simple answer yes. But that kind of goes back to what I just said. It's a low priority right now. We're going to have a complete overhaul on all sorts of clothing and vehicles and stuff like that, and furniture especially.
This one was at low expectations / no RP grace period, so people can adjust to the new menus, mechanics, and tools. The next week, but RP is still expected.
I mean, through RP is the best way to test it, because in the end you play the server to RP. So like RP is how you test the mechanics in the end.
All right,
Like
so that question Fan and Danzar already talked about. It's kind of a hard no. Fan specifically said earlier that there's going to be no grace period. I'm going to go RDM. You need to bring your A game. That's what the whole point of this is.
Yep. The very thing, A game.
The next week is going to be testing with RP.
There's a /help command, and we can directly message you back as admin. So feel free at the during that week to utilize that help command and let the staff respond to you. They might be able to answer really easily.
Like I think the root of that question comes down to people not being familiar with mechanics in PvP situations. Like PvP situations should be few and far between to begin with. Like you're not playing GTA Online. You should be role playing, interacting socially with people.
Maybe meeting up with
like
your
that.
old friends that you don't know anymore, really, and you need to get their phone numbers, and finding out where your hangout spot is, because you're going to need one of those. I'm not going to explain exactly why, but you're going to need it.
It's not going to be like, oh yeah, we're just going to be GTA Online for 24 hours, do whatever you want. No, you're going to come in just like if it was on the other server, essentially.
Yeah, every one of these tests that when I turn the server on and I say I need you guys to test, I mean, I want you to get on and play. Like, I might ban you if you annoy me. Because I'll be on the server actively developing on this server. So if you are annoying me, guess what?
Bye. Can you tell us exactly what mechanics have been tweaked for driving and to what extent they have been tweaked?
To simplify it, basically braking and turning are much more realistic. There's been a handful of acceleration updates, but the way your car's handled in the current server compared to nCore is probably completely different.
This is a multi-part question, so I'll ask the first part, Danzar, and then I'll move to the next part. As stated in the past, in various times, I understand the goal is to achieve a more realistic economy than what we currently have and push towards a bigger middle class. However, will there be any sort of active monitoring of the economy we will be slowly shaping in nCore to hopefully prevent it from becoming what it is currently?
I mean, yes. So there's going to be a lot more developed with Department of Justice, down the road whenever I can get a minute to breathe. I don't want to spoil all the surprises. There are some things you need to find out in character.
How does staff plan on preventing the economy from inflating it to what it is currently?
Okay, so I think I'm the most, from a game design standpoint, that is literally the golden question, right? If as a game designer I could make a perfect economy that just stayed balanced, then I probably would be working for a government somewhere. But The only thing I can say is that we're gonna try the money that's earned is gonna be pretty hard to earn at first, and until we really get a balance going down of like, okay, we can let this, pay a little bit more here and a little bit more there, and that's how we're gonna do it. We're gonna increment and hopefully not go too far.
Right. That's pretty much what I was gonna say. At first, money is gonna be hard to earn, and bottom line, like it's no priority to put checks on the economy not inflating like it is right now, because with the amount the low pace we have right now set, like it's gonna take a long time for the economy to be how it is right now in the live server, to be like that in nCore. Kind of ties to a difference to a next question, which is about prices for the businesses, which I've covered a little bit in my topic. We're gonna put set prices for businesses, for cars, for services like Hayes Autos, like how much a burger is sold for, how much this car is sold for, how much this house is sold for. All of that is going to be decided by staff, just how we decided how much each job pays. So it's all gonna be balanced. It's all gonna be tied together, so it doesn't get out of hand.
I just wanted to add on to that a little bit. I think it's already been said, but I wanted to kind of emphasize it. Starting next week, or once we do the soft opening. The actual opening. Once we transition over, don't expect to be rich very quickly and have all those nice cars. It's definitely going to take some time, and you're going to have to kind of role play through that.
Yeah. And there will be, from my understanding, Luke, correct me if I'm wrong, but say if somebody bought a gun and made it illegal, they can set their own price on the black market. But as far as the legal market's concerned,
exactly.
it's whatever is set, and there's a reason for that. So just
Sorry.
work with it, guys. If you have an issue and there's something that's bad, give people feedback. Will we be switching voice provider or updating Toko VoIP to fix the scuffed radios?
The scuffed radios come from the piss poor performance of the live server. But yes, we were using the updated Toko in the new server.
So sometimes there was lag spikes of up to 6 seconds, and those would stack on top of each other on the live server, and that was the issue. That's why we moved to nCore. So that's a nice segue into, there's not going to be every single feature that we already have on the live server, because those features were just part of basic ESX, or they existed over time and other people had hands in it. Now it's my framework, so things that we add are going to take a little bit of time, but when we add them, it's going to be amazing, because now we have people with like 130, 160 frames. I think Kimmy got 180, was able to push 180 on nCore. So
highest I've got is 230,
see,
and that's the limit on FiveM.
But Kimmy has a disgusting computer setup too. But most of us are going to get a pretty significant increase.
Yeah, it should just run meter.
Tony or Griffin, he have at 183. That's the highest. That's the second highest I've seen.
Okay, so
I will add on to that with the Toko VoIP. If you guys are going to switch between the two servers for the next week, you are going to have to upgrade and downgrade your Toko VoIP between both, because the live server is on the old version and the new server is on the new version.
And you're going to be on your own for that. So, I would, and that's
it's by
just
no means
because
hard,
the staff's
but
going to be busy.
yeah.
I don't want to sound cold, but we're going to be real busy. So I don't want their time taken up walking you through how to go back and forth between the two.
In project
is your friend for that, with community helpers and mods and everyone like that.
Yeah.
Being in Project Core, is there any possibility that there's a keybind menu where you can change the keybinds for your menus?
Actually, if some stuff is actually already bound to a keybind, like some stuff can be moved, like your radio key can be moved. So there's some keys that can just be rebound already. Now some of them are hard bound. So
to add on to that, because I think I saw a question about this somewhere else in there. We also talked about working on a hotbar thing down the road, but that's a quality of life thing way down the road.
Yeah, my next big attachment to the inventory will be a hotbar that you can drop your weapons on and an item on. So you'll have your 3 weapon slots and an item slot.
So this one's kind of a tough one to bring out, but I'll do my best. Being an older member, I've firsthand seen the changing of our last city to this one. Can you tell us how nCore will be different in that sense? I'm not sure.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Being an older member, this is from Jet. Being an older member, I've firsthand seen the changing of our city from the last city to this one. Can you tell us how nCore will be different in that? I'm assuming he means how it will be handled differently than the last transition.
I'm guessing that's more of like a feature question. So I'll kind of answer this question in a for those that have been around for a very long time. If you remember the transition from regular 5M to 1sync, we had some growing pains there. We got through it. Everyone was like, "Oh, we'll never get past 32 people in the server." Well, having 64 people in the server with 30 people in queue.
I think at one point this Discord channel just hit 200 people or more. So
as far as like from then to now, I mean, like all of it, everything's like different. Like most of what's different right now, you guys probably can't see. It's all in the back end. It's all performance related. But I mean, just like we said already, like your FPS alone should speak pretty loud to the performance.
Yeah, and if anything's missing, just know if it existed before, I already have plans to recreate it. I just don't want it to suck. So if I recreate it, I have to make it good. And when I've finished, I'll put it in.
We have a nice little whiteboard in our office with hundreds of things on it that need to be done.
It's our anxiety board is what it is.
Basically. And guys, if you have, sorry, fan.
It's my promise board to the community, and I have to stare at it every day and just be like, ugh.
It's my wallpaper right now.
For the features, guys, as they get released, if it's something that doesn't have to be discovered in character, you'll probably see it on the changes when you log into the server. There's the recent fixes and stuff listed there, but I'm sure Danzar and Fam will tell you when something that doesn't need to be found in character is released, like new stuff for police or something, or new criminal things that they can do that doesn't need to be found out.
Well, we're likely going to just utilize the updates channel because the one in game it requires too much effort just to throw a bunch of text in there.
It'll probably be more about generic, like how to do things, like hey, here's your how-to button and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's easier just to throw a message in Discord than it is to go in and actually code in the text.
I'm tracking. Will there be an IRS/tax system being implemented?
Maybe someday.
Find out character.
Yeah, I don't really want to promise anything like that just yet.
With nCore coming, will there be any exclusive imported cars coming to the new place? Vehicles we haven't seen before on other servers, for example.
My favorite question. So, I would not expect any add-on cars for, I would say, at least the first couple weeks. First of all, no one's probably going to be able to afford them. Secondly, we want to make sure we get the actual features going rather than making sure you have your Dodge Challenger to drive. But yes, there will be a lot more add-on vehicles. The vehicle suggestions channel will open back up very soon, and we'll have a whole process for suggesting new vehicles.
Will there be a hotbar feature to place items in for quick access?
Eventually.
All right.
But
will there be?
Like I said, that's a quality of life thing that's going to come down the road.
Yep. Will there still be a crafting system in place, or is that being entirely scrapped and something else being put into place?
That's still in the works, actually. That's to be determined.
Also, you guys have it easy. Like, you can get blueprints, and it makes it super easy. I think when nCore comes out and all this stuff in nCore, some of y'all are probably going to get a rude awakening for that kind of stuff. The level of complicity that's going to be there.
Yeah, it's going to be, and we're not making it to where it's going to take all of your life, but you're not going to be able to do everything. If you try to do everything, you're going to go insane.
Mm-hmm.
So just pick something you want, focus on it, and do that.
Will there be a way to throw away trash that you don't want without cluttering server? Okay. Will there be a new way for businesses to order inventory, or will that process stay the same?
We're basically trying to remove like any need for staff to get involved with businesses. Basically, it should be self-serve for businesses. If you own, I'll pick on Tex. If you own Burger Shot, you should be able to go get your own supplies. Supply your own business.
You need to go hire a trucker
stuff.
who's got a truck license, who's got himself an 18-wheeler and a trailer, and then hire him to go get it for you.
No, like Lou said, if you're an official or permanent licensed business, you'll get some form of like head start to make sure your business is able to function. Because it's not going to make sense if Burger Shot opens and they can't sell burgers.
It'll be a really good system, guys. It'll be more involved with players. So, how in depth is the new system in regard to drug manufacturing? Will there be new drugs to sell, and will you still sell them to locals? I'll ask the next part later because this is multi-stepped. Danzar.
Most of that, I mean, you need to find out in character, but there are a significantly increased amount of drugs available. How you do it, you need to figure that out in character.
Is there a
Both
chance?
Legal and illegal drugs, by the way.
Hell yeah. Is there a chance for something like a mentor program where older, more experienced members can take people around and show them the bare necessities so they can start the server with basic knowledge?
That's what a community helper's for. I'm sure if you asked any one of them, they would do it.
And
Our community helpers are supposed to be the ambassadors between basically the staff team and the players. If someone is genuinely new to roleplay or actually needs a helping hand, not giving away all the in-character secrets of like making drugs or something like that, but like hey, can I just get a basic tour? A community helper should be setting that up with someone in the help center through a storyline that makes sense.
Okay,
not just hey.
Let me talk about this because this is something really close to my heart, and it's weird that it's being asked by players when they should be the ones handling it. So there was this whole thing at the meeting with the fly-in fund, right? In my opinion, that's the wrong way to go about it. For something like this, for something where a mentor program, this should be all on you guys, right? Before I was even a staff member, before I was even a community helper, back when there was 30 people here and we had randoms every day, I literally just made a guy who was a taxi dude, and I just sat by the new player spawn, and I'd pick people up and ask them where they wanted to go, and tell them what I knew as is that character, right? Like this character, I knew how to get a job, I knew how to get a license, and I knew where cars were, and I gave them a little, a little step. You guys could be doing that. You guys should be doing that. To be honest, like I shouldn't just fall just on a community helpers, right? If you have that's why this all goes back to multi-character stuff, right? A lot of y'all want to play your criminals where you have a Lambo. I see all y'all that have 15 cars. I see all the guns you have. I see all the stuff. A lot of y'all have one character, but you could be playing other characters, right? You could have a character where you did this. You could have a cousin that did this, or if you're a gang, right? Say you're the Vagos, you could have a Vago guy who's looks straight and clean, and he has a taxi, and he picks up people and he tries to follow them to your gang. Like there's a whole option for you guys to be doing stuff like this that I think should be happening, especially in nCore, especially with the new economy, especially where it's going to be hard getting cars, it's hard going to be getting started. Y'all could use that to your advantage.
And I'll kind of add on to that. Whenever we had time to do the Lost gang more a couple months ago, like Lou and me and like Thrax and some others, we would be on our we've been on our Lost on our bikes, and we'd hang around the new player spawn area. New player shows up, we'll go interact with them. We're not going to go and rob them and be a total shitlord to them. We'll ask them where they're going, and we'll kind of protect them wherever they're going. And new players, they really like that kind of stuff. Makes them feel important, makes them feel like someone noticed them. By all means, a regular player can do that. It doesn't take me as a server owner to hop on my Lost bike and go and give someone a tour of the city. So I would love to see more players doing that.
There's also nothing stopping you from going to the DOJ, starting a new business like a tour guide business, and asking for a government grant, like saying, "Hey DOJ, can I make a small salary from this so I can keep my business afloat?" Be creative. Like the judges might consider that. I don't know, but it might be something we can consider. If you're creative and you're adding value to the city, the possibilities are endless.
Hold on, and then y'all seem to hold on.
That's what I want to cover. When we started the Lost, for example, Daft and I, which is goes back to a criminal activity thing that Mib mentioned. Daft and I on our Lost, on our bikers, they're criminals. We would just ride around posting ads about, hey, you need a free ride, like text us, and we just give a ride on our bikes. Actually, on my first day in the server, EOS was I think he was a senior mod. He's the one who gave me a taxi ride. He gave me a taxi ride through the whole city, telling me everything, and I fell in love with the server because of him. In RP, showing me the city around in a taxi. So like those things actually
way to keep people in the server is doing exactly that, is just picking new people up. And
I stayed in the server because of EOS showing me the city in a taxi. Like those experiences changed the player experience 100%. So like you don't need a program. Like if you want to come up with a business, like Still said, and go through DOJ, like we encourage it. but it falls both under staff and players too, obviously. So go ahead, Eos.
But I'm going to call all y'all out because I see all your stuff you're saying in discussion. This is not pointed at you people who you know life your mechanic or stuff like that. This is pointed at all the people who say, "Oh, there's nothing to do on Crim," or "I'm tired of Club RP." There's other things you guys could do. This goes back to
Just
multiple
make
characters.
Make your RP.
Yeah, you
Make it.
needed to do it. You guys keep on coming to us asking about all these features and what's going to happen in the north, but this is a lot on you guys, right? Like I have fun every time I play. I have 12 characters. I delete I have one I delete and I change it to a different one, and he has no money, no cars, no anything. He just hooks up, with his friend, or he finds some people and he does stuff. Like, there's tons of options for you guys. You just need to get out there and do it.
Just add on to that a little bit, really quick, because I'm kind of one of those people who's around at late at night often, and I always see that there's always these groups of people who are usually kind of friends. You have your 3 or 4 people, but there's tons of them that are all cluttered around the server, just sitting around having a conversation. And I mean, like, I don't want to say that don't chat with your friends, but I mean, everybody constantly says it's so boring at night. But if everybody actually just went and created these RP scenarios, it would make the nighttime
new characters and tried to figure out figure out a new RP.
It would make it so much more interesting if people actually went in, try to create that RP at night.
I love what my favorite thing is to get in the server and see a whole new group of people that are themed. I don't know why, but that's one of my favorite things is just running into they know it's like a one night kind of thing most likely, but they're in it 100%. Running into a group of old people or running into a group of garbage people or one of them speaking Spanish.
They're not doing it for money. They're doing it for fun. I mean, there's tons of stuff you guys can do and walk out and just be like laughing the whole freaking time. Take over the cult house, do a bunch of different shit. If you're sitting with the same people, make new characters. You're allowed to come up with figuring out a thing like that because you haven't made the characters yet. Oh, we should all make cult characters. Great, make cult characters. Do it. Meet each other.
Also, real quick, guys, one thing I just read too is stop with the clicks. We're not in high school anymore. Like, seriously, stop the click bullshit. Crap. Sorry, Danzer. That's just my 2 cents, guys. Like, stop the click stuff.
I was just gonna say, if you find that you make a new character that maybe you don't like the story of it, or it turns out, hey, I don't want to do this, that gives you a perfect opportunity to create some really interesting, permadeath story around it. I've permaed so many characters because it was either a character I didn't have the drive to continue, or it was just time for that character's life to end. Like, you can make some really good stories doing that. Or a haircut, yeah.
And it doesn't have to be all permadeath. You can fly out of it, come up with some tailored story as to flying out of the city, saying goodbyes or some shit, and then fly out and I'm going on vacation to Aruba, I'm running away to a country that can't extradite me back to here. So be creative. Are there new interiors for Dynasty? And will there be new furniture or anything in the future? And cooking. Can I cook in my house?
Yes and yes. We already have new interiors. We just haven't released them on the live server because we want to give you something to look forward to on the new server. So they will probably come out within the next couple weeks.
Okay. New tattoos.
Fanny, I don't know if you want to talk about kind of what we were going on about with that.
About what?
New tattoos.
I have to make a whole new menu for it. So when I do it, I want to do it big, so I want to have a bunch of extra new tattoos, whole sheets of new tattoos. Modern tattoos. My wife is a tattoo artist, so she's even talked about just taking some of her actual tattoo art and shrinking it down to where we can put it on our characters in GTA.
That'd be cool. Will there be, the next question's already been answered. Will there be any changes to how EMS works or injuries at all with nCore?
It already has. One big thing is it's not as sensitive anymore. You can fall and bump your head and not necessarily get a huge concussion. But if you get punched square in the nose, you're probably going to get a concussion. So it's a little different. It's not as sensitive as it was before. So also, you don't fall every time you try to jump. You can fall when you jump. There's a chance that it will happen. So, jumping around is probably not a good idea.
Will you be able to have mag attachments in the new city?
So
All
the
right.
cool thing about that is the guns have like every add-on that you can think of will eventually be available on the server for every gun. It's
Hell
just
yeah.
just like it was on the live server. Everything that within reason. We're not letting people run around with rocket launchers, obviously.
I'm kidding.
But there's a bunch of add-ons, like literally components that you could put on in your loadout screen, and then you can also sell that gun fully kitted already. You can just hand it to somebody with all the add-ons already on it.
Okay, this is a multi-step question, so stick with me, Fandanzer. Are businesses going to have the opportunity to prepare for nCore's launch? How will the transfer of knowledge on changed business mechanics occur? I'm thinking about things like new recipes / crafting requirements that may be in place, and what items need to be ordered.
Okay, excellent. I have the answer for this one. We're going to be working directly with you. So each person who has a permanent business license that's transferring and has, scripted stuff that's already in existence, I'm going to make you an equivalent. Whether it's using this or that system, it just depends. We're going to make you some sort of equivalent. So the people who were here originally, I don't know if anybody's even left from when I originally put each one of these things in. I would show up to the owner and be like, okay, I'm thinking about this. And we would work together and come up with some kind of cool system. And we'll do that for each business. We'll put it in and we'll figure out, okay, do you need a bunch of different tacos? We'll use the taco, the taco. They'll tell us what tacos they want to sell, and then we'll come up with some ingredients and a process for making the goods. And then we'll open taco up. And then I'll go on to the next business. One at a time, I'll work with them and we'll figure it out. There's 18 of you, and I'm one guy, so.
And Fan is very creative, guys, so he's willing to work with it. So stick tight.
It'll be fun.
Will the new mechanics in nCore affect laws and statutes?
That's a DOJ question.
I'm sorry. What was the question?
Will the new mechanics in nCore affect the laws and statutes?
I think just by
anything I
nature,
can think
I think by
offhand.
nature, eventually, yes, because there'll be like, ammo shells and those sorts of things. But right away, probably not.
Like as far as like I mean your standard laws, like you murder someone, you murder someone. As far as like illegal items, like yeah, there'll be a bunch of new legal or whatever we call it, items and stuff like that. But nothing like drastic that I can think of.
There's no current deletions of any current statutes and laws, but expect expansion in the future to cover.
I mean, there'll be a couple adjustments in regards to like I said, like the illegal items. But other than that, like I can't think of any laws that would come or go.
Right. An immediate change, for example, will be fines. Like the fines are obviously going to be way lower because the fines are set for our current broken economy, so they'll be lower. But much more immediate changes aside from the items and the fines, not really.
This is a pointed question. So, how are jobs like Burger Shot and Bean Machine supposed to make money starting out? And why did y'all remove paychecks from jobs? And the police have a system that works as they make money on duty. When they clock off, they don't get a paycheck. Why couldn't you do that for every job?
I wanna go ahead and just preface this answer with we didn't remove anything because what we have here was all created from scratch. So if it's not there, it's just because either A, it hasn't been put in yet, or B, there's no plan to real put it in. So the 5M ESX is what the other server is built on, and it's a generic like roleplay platform. So we built everything on top of that. What we have here now in nCore is a completely new platform that is only ours. Right? Even if someone else uses this framework, they don't have our version of it. It's 100% custom for us. So if it doesn't exist, then it's probably either not put in, or we don't have any plan to add it back in because it was just there by happenstance in the first place.
But as I said, guys, before, the permanent businesses are going to get, I mean, probably even some that are carrying over from temporary will get a little bit of a head start. They'll have money to operate or something. They have
whenever I plan on making it realistic. So like you're going to have some operating money. And there are some mechanics that let the business pay that will let the businesses pay you. So based on your actions inside the business, you can generate some income out of the business by helping player-owned businesses. It's hard to explain. but there's ways to make money for everybody. You just got to play and role play. Basically, the money will come.
And as it was explained the other day by Danzar, sitting around and paycheck farming, because some people just sitting there like, making $700 a tick, it's just not, it doesn't help. So it'll be paid based off of actually contributing. Like the businesses will be held accountable by the DOJ. If they're not performing and actually being a business, they'll be put in a check by the DOJ. It's the same for the businesses and their employees. The employees aren't performing, they ain't getting the money. So there's no more paycheck
One of the
holders.
jobs I want to add, but I've waited to do it because I have other more important things to get done right now, is I want to add a bus stop. So somebody spawns a bus in and he goes from stop to stop and he makes a few bucks at each stop. But what he's doing actually is giving people a chance to go stand at a bus stop and catch a bus to the other side of the city, because people aren't going to have a lot of cars right now.
Part of that question,
So-
they were asking about police and their check. Do police get check in nCore?
So right now we don't have any plans for an auto paycheck, because it turns out to be it just ends up in farming a paycheck rather than actually working. So the short way to answer that question is, unless you're working, you're not getting paid.
Okay, so there you go. Okay, I guess someone like in that question it talks about how police were getting it, no one else was. But no, you're saying here now, no one
police
else
currently
is
do
getting,
not get an auto paycheck.
Yeah, the
one's
reason,
getting
like I said, is because there's just no auto paycheck code. Like no one wrote that code, because I just didn't see a reason for it other than it happened to exist in ESX.
What changes are to be made, if any, to the way criminals' activity works? Will home robberies be making a return, and more importantly, will the amount of illegal activities one can do increase, decrease, or stay the same?
I mean, the details are fine out in character, because criminal stuff is stuff everybody wants to know. I will say that it's a completely new world. I don't know if Fanny wants to add anything to that.
I think the biggest change in the criminal stuff is going to be the gang territories. Now, you don't have to be in a gang to be in criminal, but gangs are going to be a major part of the criminal lifestyle, like play style. You're not going to be able to do anything without at least interacting with a gang at some point. So I think that's going to be the biggest change. These gangs have territories. They're marked. When you walk into a gang's territory, it'll tell you up on your display what gang owns it. How the gangs decide to go about maintaining or fighting each other over those territories, that's up to them. I hope they go about it smart and don't get the entire gang arrested.
Will players that currently have priority queue for high quality roleplay in the current server continue over into nCore? Will they have to earn it back?
Yes. So I already did another evaluation whenever we wiped the queue a couple weeks or last month, whenever that was. There's only probably, I can count on maybe one hand how many people have the high quality roleplay queue. Those will stay. Anyone who's purchased queue through the Tebex store, it also will transfer over.
Since we're on the discussion of queue here, the server's not going to have 120 slots for the whole first week. It might even be lower than 70 for the first week. So priority will be activated. So, and the Tebex store is up and live. If you want priority, I would suggest getting it, because the server is going to be slam full and it's not going to be at a full max while we do testing. So,
will there still be benefits to boosting the server at all, or no? And this is for Discord, I think.
That's a hard one really to answer. And it ends are like,
I would like
we're
to
not
do
allowed to
some
just
sort
give you
of
kind of money anymore. We're not allowed to do that. So
I would like to do some sort of incentive for it. Because we do appreciate your server boosts, but
the real incentive is it keeps the Discord as nice and fancy as it is.
It's hard to find a balance. So I don't want to say yes or no. I'm definitely trying to figure out a good incentive for it without it making it unfair to the economy again. Because server boosts are part of the reason that part of the reason that our economy got so inflated. So I believe the Discord suggestion channel is still open if anyone thinks of a very good and constructive.
And I'm going to shoot you straight that we don't get any money towards the server from that.
No.
So I mean,
if
you want to support us,
we have to put money in, homies.
Yeah, if you want
you guys to know what we
store.
built for you. We didn't build anything that was. We ain't build no weak shit.
And guys,
it's top of the line. It's all premium. We didn't get no great value server. It's what I'm saying. Like it's not like we're not riding around in cars here in real life. You know what I'm saying? We're providing you in a 5M community.
And if you guys don't know, so like when you're in court and things get bright, weather's got to change outside to fix that. I could go to the admin team to have them change it. Generally speaking, I just buy the weather change and it sets the court up, and that helps the server. So there's always small things you can do to help.
Like EOS had said, every cent you spend on a Discord Nitro boost goes to Discord. It does not go to us or the server in any way, shape, or form, other than just the actual just Nitro boost itself for the server. So the best way to support the server is the Tevex store.
Yeah, and at some point we may even be able to trade. I don't know, trade boost for like some kind of discount on the Tevex store or something. We can probably work that out.
It's also really just a really awkward thing because there's people. I know there's some staff that get like a 90-cent server boost, and then there's
Kimmy
he
can boost for like 90 cents, because he's the original founder from Discord. So
I shot a example of it when my first month on the server. I did 380 boosts and I didn't even pay $10 for them. And it's a thing you get when you're the 101st access to Discord boost. You could do that.
Kimmy pays for only 90 cents per boost, so it's really weird for us to give any kind of incentive because people like Kimmy could come in and be like, okay, well, I want $400,000, thanks.
And he pays nothing for it, and then Grim,
didn't
for
even
example,
get the money.
He's the one that answered the question or asked the question. He does it, and he has to spend $40 versus Kimmy spending $4. So it's a very weird thing to balance.
And Nitro, and they don't help you out. I'm locked into a year. I pay for my Nitro on Annam per year. I have to buy boost per year, so I still have to pay flat $35 per boost for the server. So they don't let you break it into months, which kind of sucks on Discord.
Kira said, "Okay, we send Kimmy money to boost the server." Big brain.
Wow, that is a big
5D chess.
If we ever run low. To add on my detective question, will there be support from the staff and people of the server to give us, as inspectors and detectives, stuff to do like genuine investigative work? Can I take this one? Do you guys mind?
We already answered that, didn't we?
Oh, well, I mean, the RP guys follow the example. The Robert Red case, Thrax came in and he gave me when I wasn't staff. He gave me they came up with a bloody ID and they sent me. Oh, I found this in the driver's seat, and they sent it to me over DM. Use that. Be creative. I mean, there was a bank robbery that was stupid creative. They came out with stuff. They came up with stuff. OOC and sent it to us. Like a roster and IDs.
Still will probably tell you that I drove him absolutely insane. But the whole for those that are around, the whole Robert Red thing from the plane crash up to pretty much like now almost, or just a couple weeks ago. I drove still mad on his Walker character, leaving him kind of breadcrumbs to figure out the criminal story behind it. And he kind of pieced it together all in character. But it's it's stuff like that I did not just for him, but for any law enforcement who wanted to jump on the bandwagon to really get in it. But you really got to put effort in that stuff to get good stories like that.
And it was rough.
I promise.
It was rough, but that's what started me with the BCSO detective. That's why it exists again, because of that whole Robert Red story. So be creative. Give people more RP. It's not just up to staff. It's up to you guys. That bank robbery, I'm going to give a quick shout out to Shelby, to Jet, to Jack Snides, and to who's the last one? I don't remember who the last one was. I'm blanking. Oh, it was I think it was Max.
Frankie.
Yeah. Oh, it's Frankie. All y'all did a great job on the bank robbery. It was hard for me to be like, okay, I know this. You have to separate it, and you handled it well. You got away. You made pretty good. So, but it was stupid creative, and we enjoyed it all.
Going on to stuff like that, guys, for just your roleplay and your character in general, really try to treat your character like he or she's a real person. If you were a cop in real life, would you do what you're doing in the game right now? You got to ask yourself those questions, right? If you're a store owner in real life, would you be doing what you'd be doing in the server right now in real life? You have to actually legitimately ask yourself those questions. And that's just going on with that. Really start thinking those things. Would I do this in real life? Would I? Let's go to cop baiting for a second, right? If I'm on the 101 freeway, right, and I see a CHP officer, am I going to drive past him really fast and have him chase me? We're going to go on a high-speed chase? Absolutely not. I'm going to go 65 miles per hour on the freeway, right? that's where there's a distinction between really good roleplay and really dreadful roleplay. Is that the really good ones with RP and everything can differentiate themselves of, would I do this realistically? Would I do this in real life? They can actually be honest with themselves, say yes or no. The really dreadful role players are like, you know what? In real life, I wouldn't do this, but I'm gonna do this here. That's not okay. So that's just what I want to say on that one, guys. Just really start focusing on that type of role play. Okay.
All right, let me see here. To add on to Pogo's question, will criminals be
look, hey, time out. I don't want anybody to think we're dogging on your role play, because obviously we have an amazing community here. We wouldn't be as huge as fast as we got, if we didn't have some genuinely great, amazing players here. And I don't want you guys to think we're just trying to set a high expectation, right? We want to shoot for the moon here, and we want you guys to give us your best. And we're not trying to down anybody. We don't think anybody's RP is poor. We just want to shoot for the moon, and we want everybody to enjoy this. We spent a year making it, and we want you guys to get the most out of it.
Yeah, now I gotta go back up. Hold on, sorry, I was typing something. Okay, so to add on to Pogo's question, will criminals be able to make enough to live again? Currently, I know a lot of things have seemingly disappeared from the server, and I was wondering if criminals will once again be able to make adequate money from their criminal activities.
Yes. At first, I wouldn't run around looking for a whole lot of low-level crime. Like I said, this is a brand new framework, so we're going to be adding things. I don't know if any of you have been here when we first went to OneSync. I know we keep going back to that, but I think we added whole new systems maybe 3 times a week, like new robberies, new this, new that, just all the time adding stuff. And it's going to be the same thing this time. I just have to get this new framework stable to where we can actually play. And
But
that's
that
the
goes
goal
back
this week.
to what the other staff members talked about, though. Like, I think some of y'all, a lot of y'all, might have like a little bit higher expectations of enough to live than maybe you should. Not everyone is going to be in Lambos. Not everyone is going to, for all you know, there may be limited amount that will ever even be in the city of certain cars, right? Like, not everyone's going to have fancy cars. Like, they have to think more realistically, right? Like, all the bangers you see, like in real life, they live all in the same area, 2 to a house, and you don't drive any, fancy cars, but they're living. They do enough crime for that, if you're thinking that by being able to live, am I going to be able to have my $3 million mansion? Yes, because that's how much stuff is going to cost. And a Lambo just from robbing banks or robbing ATMs? I mean, probably not. You're going to have to, do crime that you want to do to fit that lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be more than just robbing banks for
I have a lot
criminal
of the
activity.
crime systems planned that are going to blow everyone's minds, but it's got to come in one piece at a time. So,
And for those of you guys who know, I've been pushing for, like, if you rob a bank and you get caught, but you still made money from it, like people were putting money in their pockets and stuff. If the bank says, "Hey, we lost 200,000," maybe one day you'll lose that. You'll be like, "Hey, you need to give that back to the bank," sort of thing. So there's no the double dips. For those that do end up getting jailed, is anything being introduced or retained to provide for good jail or prison RP opportunities?
actually, there's a whole new gym, so that's a good segue into. There's a new fitness system in nCore that your character can run faster, punch harder. You can actually rank up your character, if you will. Like, you can level them up, and your life choices will affect your physicality. Excuse me. And
And
in
the
jail,
DOC.
there's a working gym.
I was gonna say I'd love for Retley to chime in on that one.
What was the question?
It was
you-
the Department of Corrections.
the what?
I
I'm dipping right now,
I can
sorry.
get it if you want me to.
No. I got this. DOC. Okay, so DOC. I'm not in charge of
That
this.
would be Warjack and Ross.
Yeah,
and
that's
Ross isn't
Warjack.
here tonight.
Yeah, so it's gonna be Warjack and Ross. I'm not. So one, that's gonna be something very clarified for everyone. Yes, DOC has BCSO tags. Yes, they're in BCSO channels. No, they are not part of BCSO. DOC, this to make everyone know, is the Department of Corrections. IRL as well as IC. It is a federal entity because it is the state penitentiary. It is not like the sheriff's office jail we have
And
or
see,
the
maybe
PD jail.
DOC gets set up with some kind of shift system or something that you can make money being a jail guard, right? Because that's like a civilian job for the most part.
Exactly. And one thing that DOC does too, and I'll explain some things about them real quick, is that you give them good roleplay, right? So like how it works is, say, as me as the sheriff and my deputies, we arrest you for going in a pursuit, right? We arrest you, blah blah blah. We're going to do our reports. We're going to do all our things, and we're going to give you the DOC, and we're going to give them, hey, this individual, based on his charges, is going to be going to jail for this amount of time. Now it's up to them if he's actually going to be in jail for that amount of time because they take care of all that. So if you have really good role play, and and you are a not a bad word lord, because Danzar doesn't want me to cuss in here. You won't have a max sentence. And some things that they do is that if you ever heard of a chain gang, they will take, and I've seen it too, is they'll take inmates out who are general population inmates, because we do have a solitary confinement within the prison. And if you're a bad criminal, you're going to spend your time in solitary confinement. Good luck, have fun. But they're going to take guys out and go do cleanup on the streets, on the highways, and you see a bunch of inmates picking up trash. Well, you have two DOC guards with shotguns watching them. You know what I'm saying? Like in the movies kind of deal, right? Other things they have yard time. You can go in the yard and have do workouts. What other things? Hold up one second. And
Basically,
then,
yes.
yeah, so this is that kind of stuff is this DOC. So don't ever think of, oh no, I just got arrested, my RP's over, I'm gonna be bored for like an hour. If you're did that many things, you're not gonna be bored for an hour. You're gonna actually have fun. You're actually gonna be RP with other inmates. You're gonna be RP with the corrections officers inside the prison. You're gonna be able to do a bunch of things. It just matters on your RP and what you're willing to do, right? Everything that evolves around this game in general, not even this server, there's just this game in general. When it comes to the 5 in roleplay, it's roleplay. There's servers out there that don't have any really mechanics at all, and they're popular for the reason of roleplay, because you can roleplay text through text more than you can roleplay with any type of mechanics, right? So at the end of the day, everything that you do in roleplay is going to be rewarded if it's done properly and good, right? And that's the thing with DOC. You can go on still, sorry.
All right, yeah. So, will the duplicated cars glitch where you go put your car in a garage and doesn't go poof be fixed in the new? Okay. It won't. It will be
fixed. Will it be fixed? I mean,
So I'm hoping that those kind of weird glitchy car things will be better because we're moving away from regular one sync, and B, be better because it's completely new code. So the garages are completely rewritten. For instance, if you go to put your car in a garage, don't expect it to show up at any other garage. It's in that garage.
Are we going to introduce a new way of promoting medical RP in the means of maybe allowing certain doctors to open up family medicine practices somewhere in the city and use it more of a way to RP as opposed to just transfers?
That has always been a possibility if you work with DAF. That's always been a possibility. If your RP is good enough and DAF is willing to work with you, you could open a private practice.
I've got 2 things for that actually. Is Daph's not in here, is he?
No.
Cool.
But I know what he would say.
Well, part of it, part of it comes down to back to the players. If if you're a normal player and you're an EMS, there's nothing necessarily stopping you from going to Daft or Rosella and coming up with excuse me, coming up with new ideas like that. The second part, I'm gonna spoil for him. Is there is a whole nother, I guess maybe division you could call coming to Fire Rescue. They're going to be responsible for the new rehab center that's going to be in nCore. Probably won't be available right on launch, but it's a whole new thing that they're going to be responsible for people that are what is it, 5150? So it's the crazy people, and then people like Pookie.
Currently the sanity bar doesn't do anything. Like it did stuff on the old server. Right now it doesn't do anything, and that's coming out when the rehab comes out.
And then like your drug addicts and stuff that might need to go up there. So it'll be a whole interesting mechanic that the EMS team will be responsible for.
So I got a headache yesterday during the testing from falling over. Is it going to stay as intense as it was because it seemed a little overboard?
I actually fixed it last night, so it's not as bad. Or this morning, I don't remember how I fixed it. I fixed it with Daft and some of his people last night. It was last night, yeah.
Yeah,
so it shouldn't be as bad now.
We have more control over these systems now.
Ooh.
I have source access to a lot of this stuff now, so we have more control over it.
To an extent, though, there is only so much we can do to accommodate things like that. I know there are some people that are sensitive to light and stuff like that. We can only make so many accommodations for stuff like that. So just keep that in mind.
Let me see. I think he meant that he got a headache in game. Or he meant to say like a concussion. The next question I can actually answer: are we keeping Class 2 and 3 licenses, or we're going to have to redo them all? You're keeping them, but more than likely, and I'm pretty sure it's confirmed, they're going to have an expiration date, which means you're not going to have to go through like another evaluation at this point, but you're going to have to re-up and be responsible with it. The Class 2, 3, 4 licensing system there is there to allow people legal means to own the weapons that are a higher grade. And the thing that it does is that it keeps players on the legal side, which is really tough to be in the city, where it makes criminals smarter. Like you can't get caught. There's no getting caught.
To put it a little bit forward, you can. There's 3 different states a license can be in now. It can be in active or valid, rather, invalid or revoked, and then like non-existent. So you can take the license, you can make it valid, or you can make it revoked. So a revoked license means you're gonna have to go back in there and get a new one and get it renewed. And a valid license means it's literally been taken and you have to get a whole new one.
But the weapons licenses will expire because it's going to keep people more accountable. And like the Class 2, you're going to get a few. There's going to be some Class 3 out there. Obviously not as common. And Class 4 and other licenses are going to be super uncommon, but they'll be out there for people who have good reason. If you want to apply for one, come up with a good reason, go to the open court sessions and be creative. Be creative and put effort, and you might get it. And don't be a criminal.
But to confirm that, yeah, we're gonna it won't be right on launch. It'll be shortly after, just so we can get our bearings and everything. You will have to renew most of your licenses. Excuse me. Just to keep the interaction with the Department of Justice going. As far as transferring licenses over, yeah, all your licenses will transfer over. The only thing is you're gonna have to actually go to the Department of Justice and get it back, because it's not going to actually transfer with your account. So on paper, it'll transfer. Like if I'm gonna pick on Stacy. If Stacy has a Class 2 license, her character will have it, but she's gonna have to go to the Department of Justice to get it back. If that makes sense.
We can add it the same day. That's an awesome thing too. We can add it right then and there. We don't have to wait for it to be processed by admins to go through the database. So you go to a judge, we'll add it that day. I was the only one who couldn't do that, so really it was just for my benefit.
I think we have one more question, and we already answered it.
Everything.
Which one is it? Oh, about the updates. Yes. So some good news. A lot of information today. A lot of y'all found out about wipes, and y'all aren't getting your shit. But there's some good news, especially on Dynasty 8 front. I'll let you guys know I'm working on some stuff. More agents, especially more agents that are regular players, and more abilities there. Also, there's something in the works, working on, going to be completed soon, is a mortgage system. So you can do payment plans on your house. That is an automated system. That will be, if you don't pay, it'll automatically take your house away. But also, maybe you want that dream house, and you 3 of you want to get in there and work on it, you can. That's something we're moving closer to, and probably they're going to work on here pretty soon to finish it up. So that's going to be good. I just want to give y'all some good news. I know it's a lot, taking your houses. I know some people were saying that, why are you still RPing it and all that stuff, and we talked about it, how it's all about the continuity of the RP, right? I know I sold some of y'all houses and stuff recently. That's how it is. But we're trying to help y'all. We're working on some new stuff, so it should be pretty good. Also, I don't know if any of y'all know, because not all of y'all may have been on during a test, but you also do start with a small hotel room with a small storage as well, by default, every character.
Very limited though.
Very limited, but there is options, if you need to stash that gun or what have you. So so there are some options there that are going to help you guys with the transition once we get it up and rolling.
All right, I think that's all the Q&A. Does any staff have anything before me and Fanny close up the meeting?
Nope.
All right. So I'm going to, here in a little bit, after I get some food in me, I'm going to update the Project Core channel with all the relevant details. If you're a former Patreon supporter, there'll be details in there on how to claim your stuff after we launch. Once we finish the meeting, the server will be back up in a normal schedule. I think there's a couple cool events tonight, if I'm not mistaken. And tomorrow, sometime, probably late in the evening, EST time, the nCore server will be up for the week for, your trial and error, basically.
Yeah,
There'll be an
with
announcement about that.
Possible extended downtimes and up and down while we add things and
Yep.
fix things. And
So you can switch between the two servers, but that's all I have, guys. I think Fanny's going to close out our meeting.
give me a sec. Sorry, I had to get something to drink. All that talking I've done. Okay. I just wanted to, take a moment and thank you guys for sticking together with me. This has been literally a project of mine that started 11 months ago when we first finished One Sync, and was like, maybe not even 11 months. I'm not sure. Many months, many moons ago, that when we first finished One Sync, I was like, One Sync still sucks. I want to make something better. And we started there. And I wouldn't have made it this far or even had the ability or the tools or the equipment to even get near where I have. It's made exposure in my personal and professional life, and I can't say it enough how much we owe you guys for helping us make this a reality. And I just wanted to share that with you guys, and I wanted to say thanks. And I can't wait to see you in nCore. Sorry, I'm getting all choked up. Yeah. Just bear with me and be kind. I don't expect you to get onto nCore and be like, oh, everything is perfect. It's obviously a new framework and we've never had it tested at this level. I think the most we ever had was 60 or people testing it for maybe an hour. So but yeah, hope to see you guys there. Let's make this some really awesome RP. Let's make it to let's make such awesome RP that we're Reddit material.